Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? So we're going to be talking about the Voodoo Shaman today. This is the team you want to use, in case you're wondering. One of the best physical-based DPS teams you can use possible, and obviously, being that he's a magic defense, yeah, you kind of have to. But now, see, the reason why, right? Now, we're talking Voodoo Shaman again, and I will show you again the level 4 to level 5 path for these particular monsters, but the main key thing here, right, is that you'll notice that basically once this team hits, it's an auto kill every time on level 1s and 2s and 3s and so on. You're going to be fine doing DPS here, but when you start approaching level 4s and level 5s, obviously, as you guys all probably know, the question then lies into, well, what then? What changes, right? Now, I'll go ahead. I'll show you exactly what this team does on a level 4. And again, for practical purposes, I love to give you guys kind of how do you say, a guide per se. Right now, I know we've been doing these videos for quite some time, and I know you guys are probably getting sick and tired of me explaining. But look, the point is with these kind of monsters, and yes, of course, Bon Appetit is going to be on that list. I'll have her out later today, but the lesson is this, all right? When it comes to Voodoo Shaman or Bon Appetit, is you need to know what kind of counter you're using, and you got to understand what they're doing. So if we actually watch, all right? Okay, obviously, yippee loot, right? But no, like in all seriousness, right? If you pull up the view battle, all right, and you watch this very closely, you'll notice that essentially what it begins to happen right away is you start losing a lot of HP on players like your Scarlet Bolt, and it becomes pretty noticeable almost right away. See here that your Scarlet Bullet starts taking DPS like crazy fast, and then dies. And then that's where, at this point, the question lies in, well, okay, is this still good? Is this team gonna hold up? And you'll notice that, oh no, your tracker's dying. Oh no, your Demon Slayer's dying. Oh no, you're having multiple problems, and it's a crisis. It's getting bad. It's getting real bad. Oh no. Oh god, no, why, please? No. Oh, there goes the demon. Oh no. Yeah, and then very quickly, not too long from there, oh, just barely, but oh, it dies. And then you've got not but 2 left, and at this point, you've pretty much, you've done all the DPS you can do, right? Now, I think, as far as this team is concerned, with level 4s and 5s, you can, if you want to keep going, you can just as easily get by with just the bare minimum. But in my opinion, the best swap for here is that you want to take your Death Archer out, in my opinion. And then what you want to do is you want to swap that out for your, so like sometimes people suggest tanks. In this case, you'll notice that what happens if, let's say, we swap that out for this. Again, the DPS drop there, the reason why it works as well as it does, he also happens to drop defense. But the main concern that we were having, right, was basically the DPS wasn't really the issue. It was more all of the heroes are dying. It's not looking good. Right now, here we're at 1%, not that much better. Oh baby, more loot. But obviously the main concern you can have, and even approaching it like this, is you'll notice that, well, you still have the same problem. Really, it's not really solving your problem in here at all, and rather it's the same problem, just done again in a different way. But you'll see that really, ultimately, the problem will remain about the same. The only way that you really can get a team like this to work as well is you've basically got to put in a healer. Like, as you can tell, it doesn't get any better from here. They're just going to keep dying and dying and dying, and it's not any better. It's really not. So, what I recommend you do, okay, and this is the answer that I'm sure like a handful of you are probably going to be like, see, I just skipped to this point in the video. All right. Obviously, yeah, if you want, okay, you can pop a healer in here. All right. And there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, really, you could swap your tracker out and put a healer in and use Death Archer instead if you feel like that's a more efficient option, right? That's up to you. All right. But what you'll see here is that even though I swapped that healer out, Remember that we get about 1% or so, and now here we're going to get about 1.24. So it's a tiny increase. It's not a whole lot more, but for some of you out there, that may be a big deal. That's pretty tiny, though. And you'll notice that, like, even though we've put a healer in the team, I mean, you can see the damage here is still there, but now we've kind of avoided this problem of, oh, they're dying too quick. You know, and in return, you're rewarded for keeping the team alive. Sorta. Kinda. Oh, wait a minute. Will it work? Will this work? Oh, no, it doesn't work. And that's the problem in this particular situation. Right? Even if you do, okay, your main heal isn't going to be able to answer the call to action for this particular issue. Now, that's kind of the only unfortunate part about Voodoo Shaman, is that Voodoo Shaman's a little tricky. And so, again, if I was to swap that out, all right, again, it's like we've tried what? The main healer, we've tried a tank. I'm just trying to dispel all these things that a lot of you guys would probably do right off the bat, because again, I mean, really the only way you know is through testing, right? But you'll notice that unlike some monsters I've shown you in videos, some of them are easier than they look, but you'll run into these particular situations like these, and it's a rare occasion, but it happens. And when it does happen, a lot of people get discouraged. So here we've put in, instead of like a main heal, we're trying to do a constant heal now, in the hope that maybe this is the answer, right? Because if a main heal can't do it, maybe the constant heal can. And this in some ways can work, and in other ways it may not. And the main reason why it's not going to do so well is that really his ultimate is what's ultimately screwing us up here. And you'll see that even still, it's not making a difference. And so my verdict is, don't change the attack team. All right, like ultimately you're going to do more damage doing just a DPS team on Voodoo. There's really not a better option. And I mean, that's the only unfortunate part. And this really applies even at the level 5 stage, is that there's really not a lot you can do to kind of improve this. I mean, as much as I'd like to think that there was an option for somebody to go and be like, well, yada, yada, yada. In case you're wondering, right, which team, right? Well, why not use like a trickster? Okay, I mean, I can give you one way of how, well, if you swap Death Archer out for a trickster, what am I going to gain out of this, right? Now, one of the things that Trickster has going for him is he does have a lot of DPS, all right? And frankly, between the two, I don't think you're wrong to really pick one or the other, okay? Because really the DPS there is going to be pretty good as it is. But you'll notice that, like, in the case of, like, Trickster, he's kind of a rare little gem in this particular team. But the reason why he's kind of interesting to use in this particular situation is, again, you still get all those DPS bonuses you want, but you happen to also inflict a great deal of damage with that ultimate, which I think is, in my opinion, I think that's really worthwhile compared to Death Archer. You're still going to lose your Scarlet Bolt no matter what you do, and you're ultimately going to lose your team a little quicker than usual. And that's just because of the nature of Voodoo Shaman. Because, unfortunately, his ultimate and his swing attacks are just, they're a little much, like you're really not going to have a really easygoing time trying to do a ton of DPS on this guy. It doesn't make it easy. But, I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. I mean, you'll see, even with swapping out all these different, team types, you'll see that really it doesn't really do us any good. Obviously, the hero lineup here keeps getting changed to the damage ratio. We don't really need to pay attention too much here. But most importantly, and this really, I think, kind of applies with any particular monster, especially this one, is that you really need to do it by trial by fire. If one team doesn't work for you, swap and swap and swap until you find one that does. Obviously, I've been preaching that you really, the gold standard is this team. This is like maybe statistically the best team there is, but I don't know what the stats are on this. So when you don't trust something, guys, the general rule of thumb is you need to go out and actually test this to see what it's going to do. Now, sure, I could tell you, oh yeah, this is the best team, guys. but I genuinely think that a lot of people learn by doing. And so if you want to know the answer, I honestly think that truthfully you need to go out and actually do the research to really find the truth in it, because it's really the only way. Now, that's not to say that we don't have pay to win options here, because yeah, if you want, okay, the DPS, right? And this is a big key factor here, is the DPS being created for this particular team, you know, could really use a tank. And I mean, in some situations, all right, for example, if I throw like a Rose Knight in here, which, I mean, I'm sure some of you are probably thinking, like, what are you thinking? You're putting a Rose Knight in here. What is this going to do? How are you going to fix anything with that Rose Knight? The only thing I really feel, and the real only benefit of using like a Rose Knight, for example, is you kind of stop all that initial attack damage that you inflict at the very beginning. So it doesn't necessarily extend the damage by any means. It only postpones it. I mean, at the very least, right? You can see that it kind of saves you that initial damage infliction that you get from the start, and then kind of gives you the ability to kind of get some ultimates in there. And so that kind of works out. Doesn't really do too bad. And obviously, you know, you can get all the bonuses and stuff like that. And you'll see that a lot of that damage gets soaked up by Rose Knight. You know, rather than it going into your Scarlet Bolt and your Demon Slayer right off the bat. But you'll notice that even though that's the case, that doesn't change the fact that this is obviously going to have some problems, right? Like, this is, well, unfortunately very problematic. It's just that what you'll notice here by using a Rose Knight like I did is that you're often going to get into that timer a little sooner and a little longer. And though that is really ultimately what I think is the better answer to this problem with a Voodoo Shaman, is that you want to use that Rose Knight instead. You know, because that, in my opinion, I think is the better option. I mean, yeah, you can use the other guy if you want and use Death Archer. That's fine, and you'll get a little bit more DPS. But I think if you sacrifice the DPS for just a Rose Knight, you kind of get more of that team longevity-wise in the end anyway. Yeah, and so I don't know. It's kind of a sacrifice. It's really up to making you guys decide. But needless to say, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out my other monster reviews, and I'll see you guys next time.